Howdy folks, Nathan Adlin here with the Fast Lane Car, and behind me the 2015 Lexus GX. What's important about this vehicle? Well, it is a luxury truck that can truly go off-road. Even though it has Michelin latitudes, which are really built more for comfort on the highway, it still grabs and goes through mud and does a lot of cool things, and that's coming up next. Now I wanted to explain what we're doing with the GX460. We're doing off-road tech. We wanted to show you some of the goodies it has for off-roading. And the reason why is, well, we're doing a basic review here, but if you look at my foot and this tire, you'll notice that there is some mud here. And it's a really gooey type that's very difficult, very, very difficult to traverse. So that's what we're gonna do with this baby right now. Andre seriously sits like a pimp. This is why I call him Pimp. He's like, how can you drive? All right. Now this hill is moderately challenging for, no, it's not even that challenging, frankly. But I tell you what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do is put this on, let's see, it's in comfort mode. You can lift the suspension up. Toggle switch, you just push it up and it lifts it. Okay. Now there's a button you push and that turns the speed ascent control on. And you take your foot off the brake, and I believe I just use this toggle switch as it goes up the hill, and it'll do it for me. I am not touching the accelerator right now. I have it on its lowest setting. And it's simply going up and over the hill. 301 horsepower for a vehicle this big may not seem like a lot, but 329 pound-feet of torque, that's not too bad. It's a 4.6 liter V8 and it's hooked up to a 6-speed automatic transmission, kind of old school. But the 4-wheel drive system in this baby is one of the top ones out there. All right, so I'm in low and I activate the system. There you go. And simply goose it a little bit, and it'll start accelerating as you go up the hill. And as you go up the hill, if you want to go a little bit faster, just push it forward a little bit more. You want to decelerate, pull back a little bit. Just that simple. It'll do it for you. You do not touch the gas pedal. And then once you get to your crest and you're ready to start down, you leave the system alone and it'll do exactly the same thing using hill descent control, which is using the braking system. And you simply back it off as you are going down. You do not touch the brakes. You let them do the work for you. The whole purpose of this system is for people who are, I just shut it off. That's why you hear the boom. People who have a hard time or who are scared, and rightfully so in some cases, of going up and over a hill. I can tell you that it's been worrying going over hills like this in this vehicle because there's so much mud that's sticking to the tires. And I've accelerated and tried to kick some of the dirt off, but the traction is nearly gone. Let's talk about utility for a minute, because there's something that you need to know about the GX and a couple other vehicles that come in from Japan, and that's this. Well, first of all, here's the plus. You are able to pop the glass not all big SUVs do this, so you can put things in. And that's a plus because when you pull up to a curb and you have a car right about here, that's a problem. And here's why it's the problem, because I've had vehicles like this before, and sometimes you can't even open the door all the way, much less make it to the curb. The reason why is because this is built for Japan. This is built where people drive on the other side of the road and park on the other side of the road. So at least this pops open, right? Try to hit it at a higher speed now. Okay. Barely did it going solo. There we go. Watching Andre panic as I almost went over the wrong side of the hill. So that system works really good. It needs better tires. If you're going to do off-roading in this vehicle, you need much meatier tires that sell clean quicker. Otherwise, just in the sludge, there are a few parts where it felt like it was about to get stuck. But because the system is so advanced, it realizes that and it figures out a way through it. I really do like that hill ascent and descent control system. It's so simple. Just push a button, inch it a little bit forward, and it'll just go up and over pretty much at a specific speed. Very impressive. So to lift the height, simply push, and it knows, make sure it's not off. There we go, it's on. And it will lift the truck up. And you can lift it up or down, depending on what you're doing. Obviously, if you're off-road, up is where you want to be. Just that simple. This baby has been fantastic in mud so far. Now, the reason I mention that is because if you look at the competition, there are a lot of vehicles that this competes with that I wouldn't want to bring into this mud. The Lincoln Navigator, or the GMC Yukon that we've recently driven, or even the Cadillac Escalade, if you the small wheelbase one, yeah, they all kind of compete with this. But you know, Andre and I have been talking about it, and we think that the Land Rover LR4, and of course the new Discovery, and on top of all those, also the Mercedes-Benz GL, because it has a third row seat. So yeah, the prices kind of are wishy-washy, but altogether, there's a lot of competition out there for this guy. And if you're serious about off-roading, this is the more serious off-roader. If you're serious about being on the road and comfortable, then perhaps looking at the other ones would be a good idea. Now, I have it in comfort mode. Off-road, I haven't noticed any difference with any of the settings. Sport mode basically firms up the suspension and allows for less tipping. And then this is your regular automatic mode, and then comfort mode, which makes things a little squishy. But as far as I can tell, it all feels about the same. It's really difficult to tell the difference between these three modes, to be honest with you. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Lexus makes some of the best interiors out there. The seats are incredibly comfortable. Stitching's immaculate. And in this vehicle, the toggle switches for the four-wheel drive system, which is right there between the driver and front passenger, really, really cool. I love big toggle switches. This has a third row, so you can put people back here. However, they must be very small, with little tiny legs, little tiny legs, in order to be comfortable back here. So it's to be used in a pinch or for children. All in all, it is a beautiful interior. There is one thing, and this is for the past few GXs that I've driven. I like the fact that you sit high off the ground and it's somewhat narrow inside, but there's a little bit of a blind spot back here when you look over your shoulder. This is the four-wheel drive high and low. Now right now I have it on low because we're dealing with hills and some difficulty with traction. Low is the way to go, but simply put, that's all you have to do. And then go back there. You actually have to push this down a little bit to engage low. So go back to high, you push it up to high, And there it is back down to low. So you have to push it down, pull it down. Now, as you've seen, it is a proper off-road vehicle, and it could be so much better with proper tires. But that's up to you, of course. Let me put it to you this way. TFL scale of buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it, I definitely would give it a lease it. And the only reason I wouldn't give it a buy it is because I think the tires hold it back, and because that third row seat for the money you're paying, well, it's just too small. But for a vehicle that costs $65,980 as tested, and the fact that it gets 17 miles per gallon combined, which is okay, these are things that I think lend back to one major point about this vehicle. It's old, it's long in the tooth. Yes, the front end is refreshed, but for the most part, it's a very old truck, and it's old bones, and the tech, although it's good, is kind of old as well. So I'm curious to see what Lexus and Toyota are going to do to replace this baby soon. Should be interesting. For the Fast Lane Car, this is Nathan Adlin. Don't forget to go to tflcar.com for news, views, and real-world reviews. Zai Jin.